Before we jump into XRP moving trillions of dollars, let's take a look at Paul Atkins ready to make a big move for crypto in the United States.
Today, I should like to discuss what Commissioner Peirce, Hester Peirce, and I are calling Project Crypto, which will be the SEC's North Star in aiding President Trump in his historic efforts to make America the crypto capital of the world. The SEC will not stand idly by and watch innovations develop overseas while our capital markets remain stagnant. We're at the threshold of a new era in the history of our markets. As I mentioned earlier, today I'm announcing the launch of Project Crypto, a commission-wide initiative to modernize the securities rules and regulations to enable America's financial markets to move on-chain. The President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets released the PWG report with clear recommendations for the SEC and other federal agencies to build a framework to maintain U.S. dominance in crypto asset markets. This report is the blueprint to make America first in blockchain and crypto technology. We will not watch from the sidelines. We will lead, we will build, and we will ensure that the next chapter of financial innovation is written right here in America.
So Paul wants to reshore the crypto business. A lot of crypto firms left the United States because of tough regulations under the old SEC leadership. Atkins, who's pro-crypto and even tied to a Ripple-backed company called Securities, wants to make the U.S. a crypto hub again. And he says clear rules and less red tape will bring innovation and jobs back to the United States. And this could be a game changer for the entire crypto industry. If companies like Coinbase or Ripple can operate freely in the United States, it means more investment, more jobs, and potentially higher crypto prices. Plus, with Atkins' Ripple connection, it's no surprise that XRP jumped 11% after the SEC dropped its lawsuit earlier this year. This is a sign that regulatory storm might finally be clearing. Well, XRP is set to move trillions of dollars. When talking about Ripple's role in tokenizing finance, for those of you that are new to crypto, tokenizing finance means turning traditional assets like stocks, bonds, or even real estate into digital tokens on a blockchain. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, because it makes transactions faster, cheaper, and global. Ripple's XRP is built for exactly this. With the super fast XRP ledger that settles payments in 3 to 5 seconds for a fraction of a penny, Tokorium's CEO, who's been working with Ripple's tech, said XRP's role in cross-border payments and liquidity could reshape how banks and institutions handle trillions in value. And this isn't just hype. Banks in Japan like SBI are already integrating XRP payments in 2025. As Ripple continues to advance its level 2 infrastructure, it's becoming increasingly clear that they are positioning to tokenize the entire financial system. And they have acquired a broker-dealer clearing member, which is a strategic move that brings them one step closer to integrating deeply with the traditional finance markets and even potentially opening their own bank. And just a couple of days ago, Andre asked a simple question about Ripple has 300 plus bank partnerships, but after 13 years, shouldn't there be billions of inflows? And David Schwarz did respond to this. And what he was talking about is, he says, I think there's a number of reasons why institutions have historically preferred to use digital assets off-chain rather than on-chain. I think we're close to changing that because institutions are starting to see the benefits of moving on-chain. But I agree, it has been very slow. Even Ripple can't use XRPL decentralized exchange for payments yet because we can't be sure that a terrorist won't provide the liquidity for payment. Features like permissioned domains will address this. Another question was raised was, if XRP is volatile, why use it over stablecoins for transfers? And David responded, well, there are use cases where volatility isn't minus or even is a plus. Generally, for most digital assets, the general view is that the upside is worth more than the downside. So as long as you aren't very risk averse, holding it is not really a disadvantage. The question also continued on with, if volatility is not an issue because it's a bridge currency, what's the incentive to hold it? A bridge currency only works if someone is holding it so that you can get it precisely when you need it. But I think that in practice, if you don't know what asset you will need to hold next, you may hold the dominant bridge currency because it should be cheaper to exchange into whatever you happen to need next. The next question was, are bridge currencies still necessary when stablecoins will cover most pairs in the future? And David answered, well, if one stablecoin wins, then no. You will just use that one stablecoin as the bridge currency. But I don't think one stable coin can win for several reasons, including that a stable coin can only be stable relative to one particular fiat currency and will always have jurisdictional ties. If we're in a multi-stablecoin world, it still makes sense to have a bridge asset that serves the long tail of tokenized securities, loan portfolios, and so on. The next question was, why would giants like BlackRock use XRPL for tokenization instead of building their own blockchain? Robinhood uses Arbitrum and plans their own. He answered, well, I'm not sure how much they will really matter so long as we have interoperability and asset portability. Multiple chains are a good form of scalability as well. But I think the best way to see why they might is to ask the same question about Circle. Why don't they launch USDC only on their own blockchain? You can see why that's obviously silly. I think some kind of logic will apply to tokenized real-world assets over the next year or two. And then the final question that came out was geopolitical risk. Why would foreign countries trust a US-based private company payment network? And David answered, well, if you're asking about XRPL, it's not really US-based. It has never discriminated against any particular participant. And if it ever started to, I would hope people would stop using it. If you mean Ripple's enterprise payment products, we have separately licensed entities in many jurisdictions, but obviously you're not going to see it in North Korea or Cuba anytime soon. And there might be, in some cases, pushback to a US company having some control over, say, payments between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. We build trust and we make hay wherever the sun shines. So it's really exciting to see David Schwarz answering these questions because people are starting to worry, right? I mean, if you've been holding XRP for 4 years at 55 cents, we're finally starting to get the move to the upside. People are telling you it should be $100 a coin, it should be $1,000 a coin. Why is it not $1 million a token, right? That's what people are wanting to know. But the reality is it does take time and it is starting to develop. I like the most important question that he answered was in the beginning, in my opinion. And he said here, I think there are a number of reasons why institutions have historically preferred to use digital assets off-chain rather than on-chain. So remember, crypto on the blockchain is starting to finally make its way into mainstream. And Trump shakes up the entire financial world today when Trump says he is firing the commissioner of labor statistics after the May and June jobs reports were revised lower by a massive 258,000 jobs. Now, as you remember, we've been covering every single week and every single month the red folder news in the financial markets, and the jobs reports are one of the most important things that comes out. And the jobs market was on fire. We were gaining tons and tons of jobs. Well, this person came out and rewrote those numbers and revised them down significantly. And Trump says the job numbers being produced by a Biden appointee who faked the job numbers. As we take a look at the Donald Trump tweet here, I was just informed that our country's job numbers are being produced by a Biden appointee, Dr. Erica McIntyre, the commissioner of labor statistics, who faked the jobs number before the election to try to boost Kamala's chance of victory. This is the same Bureau of Labor and Statistics that overstated the jobs growth in March of 2024 by approximately 818,000. And then again, right before the 2024 election in August and September by 112,000. Those were records. No one can be that wrong. We need accurate jobs numbers. I have directed my team to fire the Biden political appointee immediately. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purpose. McIntyre said that they were only 73,000 jobs added. A shock, but more importantly, that a major mistake was made by them. 258,000 jobs downward in the prior 2 months. Similar things have happened in the first part of the year, always to the negative. The economy is booming under Trump, despite the Fed that always plays games, this time with interest rates, where they lowered them twice and substantially just before the presidential election, I assume in the hopes of getting Kamala elected. How did that work out? Jerome, too late, pal, should also be put out to pasture. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So you may be thinking, well, why does this matter for the crypto market? Well, crypto thrives in uncertainty. And when people doubt traditional systems like government data or fiat currency, they turn to decentralized assets like Bitcoin and XRP. Bitcoin's already holding above $100,000, and analysts are saying that it will be climbing back above $120,000. XRP, of course, could ride this wave as well, especially with its recent 44% rally. keep an eye on how it plays out. Now, obviously, the markets aren't doing so well, so let's check out the charts. All right, so as we're taking a look here at the charts on XRP, we're looking for support and resistance levels that are going to be important to us. We also have been talking about our long-term momentum and short-term momentum waves. So let's get up in here and take a look. We've got the 30 exponential moving average, which is what we talked about yesterday, and that is holding up nicely as a support as of right now.